Okay, our second last piece is a piece from Sylvester Stallone's Judge Dredd. I am the law. Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new video here on the channel. So it seems there's a new prop house in town. So much so, it's actually founded by a few acquaintances of mine in the collecting community. So I remember seeing some pieces from this particular company doing the rounds at San Diego Comic-Con. They had a booth there. They had some pretty interesting pieces on display. So they have an upcoming auction. It's actually going to be happening on September 9th, 2025. So this is a company called SXV or SXV. So as always, much like I do with the prop store auctions, hero props and stuff like that, we're going to go through some of the listings, the ones that really stand out to me. There's one particular piece that, you know, I want to get into the nitty gritty part of it because it's quite an interesting one that's been happening in the background, but it hasn't really shown up for auction at this certain price. And I kind of just, you know, want to touch on that particular piece, and it's a Freddy Krueger piece. So, you know, I'm going to be all over that like a fat kid on a cupcake. But other than that, we've got some pretty pricey items. A piece from Michael Jackson's collection, an iconic one that is going to go for an absolute mozza. Well, it might go for an absolute mozza. So as always, I will go through what the expected price is going to be with the estimate, and then I'll also convert that from USD to AUD. Now, also, I will leave the link down below for the upcoming auction. There's a shitload of other pieces in amongst that auction, but these are the ones that really stand out to me and that I think you'll get a jonesing out of. Okay, here we go. Here is the homepage of the auction. You can already see what we've got coming up. We've got some Edward Scissorhands stuff, the Michael Jackson piece. So let's go over to the first tab. So first up, we have something from Edward Scissorhands. You know me, I love Edward Scissorhands. I love the design, the aesthetic of the film, but not just that, the design of Edward himself, Johnny Depp's portrayal of the character, but most notably, those beautiful Scissorhand props from Stan Winston and his incredibly talented crew. I think they absolutely went above and beyond with the look of Edward, but most notably the Scissorhand props. So we have a set of Scissorhand props estimated to sell upwards of 120,000 USD. So let's have a quick look at the description here. The Scissorhands set includes a right hand equipped with 2 resin blades, accented by black and red urethane handles, complemented by silver-coated resin thumb and pinky blades, and a left hand with 3 urethane blades, plus 1 resin blade featuring a jagged edge, finished in a mixture of red, black, and silver tones. Each hand is backed with a rubber and copper silver shades secured onto a wooden display supports. So let's check out these photos. Now, the cool thing is they've got a lot of photos, like a lot of turnarounds, which is great. Because for the most part, when you see a lot of these Scissorhand props come up for auction, sometimes pieces are missing or they've mixed and matched certain pieces and certain blades aren't on the proper finger. But from what I can see, it seems like everything is pretty much intact. Sans, say, like the bone hinges and like the forearm wrist straps that would secure everything in place. If anything, that can be easily replicated. These are the pieces you definitely want in terms of things that are still remaining on the piece. So we've got some lovely turnarounds. Let's go to some close-ups. So I think this is the thumb sheet. Yep, there we go. It's so interesting, the different shapes, the different styles of shears, scissors, blades that they've utilized with these props. And that's why I get so fascinated by them. There's just a new detail I pick up every time. But I also love the fact that you look at the handle there. It's like an old school like shear that you'd use for sewing and cutting fabric. So it's all a mixture of urethane, resin. Now, if we keep going along here, now from memory, there should be another little piece that's riveted into there. And from what I've heard from the set is that that was for Johnny Depp's roach. Like that was, they could put his cigarette or joint or whatever on that point there and he could smoke while he had the Scissorhand pieces on. There you go. There's a nice shot of the underside. So I love that they've still got the palm plates as well. I don't know if that's the original glove that he would wear per se. This palm plate here, it's such a strange one. I remember when I had a friend of mine replicate it in 3D to have him printed, and he's like, dude, what are these shapes? I'm like, I don't know. So you see that hole there? That is where the leather strap comes in and feeds in and buckles in on the rest of the forearm strapping. So in terms of the price point, man, look, given the fact that for the most part, they're pretty much intact, sans a few pieces missing, probably a few nuts and bolts. It's pretty on the mark, given how iconic these pieces are, and again, how in good condition they are. I've seen a lot of these pieces where like the chroming is chipped off, exposing a lot of the urethane, the resin, but for the most part, these are in great nick considering their age. Now, next up, we have another Edward Scissorhands piece. Now, this isn't like a prop or screen use piece per se. This is just a bit of interesting promotional marketing stuff. So Edward Scissorhands, original pre-production artwork archive. So estimated to sell upwards of 1,000 USD. So these are like silhouette pieces and a behind the scenes photo of Johnny Depp trying out his Scissorhand pieces. But with the silhouette pieces, I think that's to help with the design and the fabrication of the theatrical posters, promotional photos and stuff like that. So if we click onto these photos, we've got a bit of everything. And quite frankly, 1,000 USD, that's not bad. So we've got these silhouetted photos of Johnny Depp and then also the Scissorhands props, but also some strips of film. Now, if I can move along here, we've also got some sketches. Like, is this a Tim Burton sketch? That's pretty damn cool, man. John, thank you. Is that like Johnny Depp? Just a little something extra for all your excellent work in the kitchen. Thank you, Stan. As in Stan Winston. That is cool. That's damn cool. So it's like an art piece. Okay, so there's a nice behind the scenes shot of Johnny Depp, you know, trying out the Scissorhand props with like a mock-up piece of the costume. Like that's probably just what they had lying around at Stan Winston Studios. Now, I do believe he also had hair extensions put into his hair just to give it a bit of length. But damn, he looks good even there. And that's not even the final look of how he was in Edward Scissorhands. So there's a silhouetted shot, the Scissorhand prop, a silhouetted shot of Johnny in costume. Another shot. Now let's take a look. Okay, so there you go. I've actually never seen that shot. I've seen the shot of him looking down. I've never seen the shot of him looking at the camera. Oh, that's so cool. I've never seen that one either. Oh, that's mad. And the castle, another one of the castle, Winona Ryder. Okay, that's a nice shot of the Scissorhand prop. That is very cool. Again, not screen used, but I just think that's a nice little neat piece of memorabilia from the film. So whoever snaps that up, awesome. Okay, next up we have the Michael Jackson piece. The Michael Jackson personally owned and stage-worn Victory Tour crystal glove from 1984, expected to sell upwards of $200,000. This is the iconic sparkly glove that he wore on his right hand. Just one, not two, just one. So look, there's nothing really much else to say. It's accompanied by a letter of authenticity from Francois Byrne, who received it backstage after a sweltering August performance in Knoxville, Tennessee. Damn! Measuring approximately 9 inches in length. This iconic artifact is in fine condition, minor soiling, etc. The white cotton right-hand glove, entirely adorned with Swarovski crystals and featuring a hook fastener at the wrist, was crafted by acclaimed costume designer Bill Whitten for the Jackson Brothers record-breaking tour. That is amazing, man. Let's have a look at a few snaps of this. The fact that they're Swarovski crystals, it's so Michael Jackson. Like, of course he'd has Swarovski crystals. That is insane, man. Yeah, that's like, talk about an iconic piece. Like, I'm not the biggest MJ fan. Like, I like a few of his songs, but I appreciate iconic pieces like this. Okay, next up, we have a piece from Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman's Gal Gadot hero costume bodysuit with baldric. The hell's a baldric? I'm assuming that's the strapping. So is this from the film? Okay, so it's not from BVS, it's not from Justice League, it's from the 2017 Wonder Woman film. So I know for the most part, this is made of urethane. Crafted from a combination of dense, stronger type foam latex and leather, it features a signature blue, red, and gold palette with detailed armor-like accents tailored for Gal Gadot's stunt work. The costume was vacuum metallized prior to painting. So this was made by Ironhead Studios. I think? No. I forget. Because I think by that time, Jose had said, no, I've had enough because you didn't credit me for BVS. Because I do know Ironhead built the Batfleck and Wonder Woman costumes for BVS, but not Justice League. So that makes sense that moving forward after BVS that they didn't partake in building the costumes. And for the most part, man, look, despite what you think of Gal Gadot's performance, the films and stuff like that, her costumes were always on point. I think it's a great interpretation of Wonder Woman's look. It has that beautiful Themyscirian look, like it's old ancient armor, something that they actually would wear into battle, and in very good condition, I must say. Oh man, that red, gold, and blue just looks so good together. Actually, let's go back there. So there's looks like elastic strapping on the inside. I always get fascinated how the inner workings are of certain costumes, and like sometimes it's not pretty at all, but if it works and it makes them look good, then who cares? So expected to sell upwards of 200,000 USD, much like Michael Jackson's rhinestone glove. Okay, next up we have a piece from The Flash. Batman, Michael Keaton's stunt Batarang, expected to sell upwards of 6,000 USD. A stunt Batarang used by Batman Michael Keaton in the superhero film The Flash. This Batarang, designed from the 1989 Batman film, was used in battles against General Zod. Featuring cast black hard resin with additional paintwork. If it's hard resin, I wouldn't say it's a stunt Batarang. Maybe it's just a backup one. But if it's a stunt one, usually it's like a flexible urethane, like a higher shore, but it has a bit of flex to it so no one gets injured or it doesn't snap if it's being thrown around. Still a cool piece nonetheless. Love the weathering. I love the fact that they're utilizing the aesthetic of the original Batarangs from 89 and Returns. It's just keeping in the family of the Keaton look, which is great. Now, I know I cover these cows a lot when it comes to like prop store auctions, but they have one up for sale. So SXV have a Dark Knight hero Christian Bale cowl up for auction, expected to sell upwards of 100,000 USD. Usually these things, 120,000, 200,000 mark, but that's pretty much in line with what these cows sell for, considering the fact it's a hero cow. Now, these cows are made out of urethane, and from memory, the urethane was heated up before it was injected into the mold. I don't know if that helps with the consistency of it, because if you do mix urethane when it's colder, it's a lot thicker. Whereas if you put it out in the sun, it becomes less dense, but your working time is usually cut in half. And they do injection molds anyway, so it fits Christian Bale's head perfectly. And if we take a look at the inside, like there's not much going on the inside. Usually there's like little voids on each side so his ears can kind of nestle in without being squished or hurt. Because if you've ever put a cowl on before, sometimes it can cut your ears. And you can see there just that perfect look on the inside because it's from an injection mold. Okay, we've got a piece from Captain America the First Avenger. Captain America the First Avenger, Chris Evans's hero cowl. We've got a lot of hero pieces in this auction, which is amazing to see. Expected to sell upwards of 60,000 USD. I would have thought a bit more, but amazing nonetheless. So these, for the most part, it's a mixed media of urethane, leather, resin. So we take a look at a few turnarounds here. And I love Cap's look in the First Avenger. That first proper suit that he has in the film, absolutely love it. It's such a good look. It's so akin to the time period. It looks like it's actually going to protect him, even though he's a super soldier and he doesn't really need protecting. It just makes him look badass. So have they got some shots of the inside of the helmet? Yes. Okay. Number 2, stage 3. You see all the beautiful leather work in there, all like stitched and glued in. So cool to see. Is there any padding? Oh man, that looks like it would cut your nose. That's interesting. They've got like a round piece of, I'm assuming, EVA foam on the inside. Hard one. Okay, so is this made of like a harder shore urethane? C. Evans number 1. Yeah, wow. It just looks like the inside of a football helmet, doesn't it? Yeah, it looks like a bit of wear and tear there. Like you see like contact adhesive there. It doesn't help as well that sweat like breaks down, glues contact adhesives. So whether it be Chris Evans, the stunt performers, they'd be sweating heavily in that suit and that helmet. Okay, we're delving into some horror pieces. We've got a machete from Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday, which just recently celebrated an anniversary, the same day that Sweet Revenge released last week, featuring a weathered finish consistent with its on-screen use, and is one of 4 purchased and provided by the prop department, with 2 used for Kane hottest scenes and 2 for the dummy explosion, as noted by special effects supervisor Tom Bellissimo. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Made in Colombia is printed on the side. Okay, so does it have like a make and model on the blade? Man, that thing looks rusty and nasty. That's some great close-up shots. This is great reference for anyone that's cosplaying as that particular look of Jason. Made in Colombia. So that's all it says. No like make or model of this thing. I'm sure there are people out there who love this look that know. Okay, it comes with that. It's very cool. Some photos, nice. So this one's expected to sell upwards of 10,000 USD. Not bad. Like, I wouldn't say it's over the top, but I think that's if it's expected to sell upwards of that, that's pretty much on the money. Okay, so this is a piece that I want to go into the nitty gritty of. This is a bit of an interesting one, and it's one that, you know, I'm all over. Like I said, like a fat kid on a cupcake, because it's Freddy related, let alone a Freddy Krueger glove. So Freddy vs. Jason, Freddy Krueger, Robert Englund, Hero Production Components Razor Glove, completed post-production. This was completed by the armorer for Freddy vs. Jason, Lem LeMercer, a Canadian armorer who built the gloves for Freddy vs. Jason. So the interesting thing about this one, this was not used on film. This was not a production-made glove. This was made utilizing spare components, spare pieces, spare blades, spare copper finger pieces, backplate, and leather that was just lying around. I'm assuming Lem had this in his collection because he's offered a few pieces in the past with other auction sites. So this is expected to sell upwards of 40,000 USD. This is a bit of a conundrum. So if that price point was for something that, let's say, was production made, like it was part of the production line, on set, ready to go, but they never rolled film on it, I understand. If it was a hero or a stunt that was used on film, I would completely understand. For something that is made with spare pieces that was probably sitting in Lem LeMercer's like toolbox, storage container, I think that's pretty damn high. If anything, you know, 10 to 15 at the very most. When it comes to Freddy gloves, they're an absolute commodity and a half. I've seen gloves that I cannot identify that are stated as production made, part 3, part 4 gloves that sell for an astronomical amount, like on par with this estimate. So taking a look at the turnarounds of the glove, and it's splayed really far apart, like really far apart. So the leather is the same make and model leather that they used on the Hero gloves. That's a leather that you could get in Canada. You still can get to this day, which is cool. But looking at the back plate, it's pretty on point with the A and B Hero. The fingertips, well, the finger stalls and tips look like they've been experimented with. Like they don't look like the final look of the tips and the stalls from the Hero gloves. The blades as well look like they were spares that Lem's probably experimented with in terms of grounding out the shapes, the finishing, the smoothing, getting the bevels and stuff like that. It definitely looks similar, but again, I think these are just test pieces that were laying around in his collection that he's had since filming in 2002 and 2003. And again, I've seen other pieces go up for auction. He's had backplates, leathers, blades for sale. So again, this isn't a dig. This is more or less just an observation where if this was used on screen, I'd totally get it 100% with that estimated price point. But for something that was just spare parts, I think that's just a little bit high. It looks great. Like it looks like a damn sweet glove. I just think given the fact that no film has been rolled on it, you probably could bump that price just a little bit down because again, I appreciate the fact that it states that this was made post-production. There have been some auction sites that have not stated that and that these pieces were production made and stuff like that, where they're just spare pieces, production test pieces that were laying around. So got a nice close-up look. The copper pieces there, I like that little bit of oxidizing. The glove looks great. The leather itself looks great, beautifully weathered. Got the drawstring there with the 1, 2, 3 washers. So again, I appreciate the fact that they're stating the facts, that this was made post-production. I just think that price is way too high. Okay, our second last piece is a piece from Sylvester Stallone's Judge Dredd. I am the law. So Judge Dredd helmet. Is this a Hero one? Helmets like this were used by Judge Joseph Dredd in the Black Wall sequence and is important to the film for amplifying the dystopian action narrative. So expected to sell upwards of 16,000 USD. That's kind of cheap. I'm not going to lie. But let's take a look at some turnarounds. Look, as cheesy and as silly as the film is, the Judge Dredd film, I think the costumes are sick. I think Sly looked great. It's weird that he had a stipulation that he wanted his helmet off so everyone could see his beautiful face. And because we know for the most part, Judge Dredd keeps his helmet on, like the Carl Urban one, which did it properly. And it's a crime that we have not got a sequel to that film. But for the most part, the costumes in this film were great. I think Sly looked great as Judge Dredd. Let's take a look at the inside if there's any markings. Oh, NBA Limited London. All the padding inside there. That looks cozy as fuck. And we've got some continuity Polaroids, like a design sketch and a photo of Sly as well. So very cool. And our last piece is a Star Wars piece. So from Star Wars The Force Awakens, Kylo Ren's Adam Driver's hero helmet expected to fetch upwards of 500,000 USD. Holy shit. And it even comes with a pair of prescription sunnies that Adam Driver would wear inside the helmet. I'm assuming it's for those brighter shooting days and nights where there's harsh stage lights and you just need a bit of polarizing in those lenses. So let's take a look at the turnarounds. Well, actually, let's just take a look at the inside of the helmet. Here we go. See if there's any markings on the inside. A driver. So by this point, when they were filming the sequel trilogy, in terms of cataloging props and stuff like that, Disney were onto it. Everything is barcoded, archived. So it'd be interesting to, see the story of this particular piece, who owned it, where it came from. But this looks cozy as the lining, padding, everything. It looks so damn good. It looks like it'd be very comfy on Adam Driver's head. And just seeing all the finishing. I mean, look at that. Just look, everything's just beautifully custom made, man. And it helps when you have a very, very high budget. Even it looks like dried up bits of rain on the helmet. Just stuff that sometimes you wouldn't see on film. And there you go, guys. Those were a few pieces from the SXV upcoming online auction. Drop a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on these pieces, or if you've had a look at the catalog, any other pieces that really stood out to you that I didn't cover in this one. Again, that Freddy glove is a bit of an interesting one. I've seen those pieces from Lem doing the rounds a couple of times, and people have paid big money for them. So again, Freddy gloves, man, they're an absolute commodity. Love you guts, and I'll catch you in the next one.